YouTube, what it do, family? It's your boy D back with another banger. We're gonna do a light taper today, light taper fade on the sides, and we're going to trim the beard and hit it with the razor. This is a client that I've been cutting for a while, and as most of you guys know, if you're tuned in, I am cutting from the house now. So with that being said, we're gonna get into this cut and we're gonna rock out. Do me a favor, please, please, please like, subscribe, and comment. It's greatly appreciated if you tuned in and you're taking notes and you're learning something. I truly appreciate it. That's what I'm here for, the feedback. So as you guys know, I always start my hair cuts debulking. So we're either gonna go with the grain or against the grain, and in this video we're going to do both. I'm going to go with the grain and against the grain. I have to be cautious of how his hair is right now at the moment. So with that being said, you just have to pay attention to the details when you're doing your haircut. Excuse my shoulder if it gets in the way. Sometimes that does happen while I'm recording. And I try to be cautious of that, but you know, I'm a one-man army. So this haircut is kind of simple. This is a longer video than I usually put out. Through my editing, I was looking through and I was doing my best to shorten it, but I could not. So with that being said, just stick with me and watch how I approach this. So starting with my 1.5, I'm going to debulk, going with the grain and against the grain. Seeing that he doesn't really want a bald taper, this is kind of gonna help me achieve the desired look that we're going for. And so I'm going to pretty much fade from the bottom up and the top down. You'll see me switch throughout the haircut to go different ways. But initially, this is how I do these type of haircuts. And so with that, I'm using my 1 now and I'm going against the grain, kind of debulking, creating that real light taper. And I'm always brushing after every stroke of the clipper. And that's a key pivotal point. So now using my half guard, same thing. Nothing's changed. Nothing's gonna change. We're just gonna continue to go into the haircut using my half open to midway. I'm going to continue to create that blend. And then now I'm going to really go back into the top where there's that heavy weight line at the parietal ridge area close to the crown. I'm going to blend that all together. For me, this makes everything kind of come as one. I just like it better, especially for the way that I cut. And I've been at this really focusing in on my YouTube, trying to create the content for people who are like me and for me, who will support. That's kind of what I'm going for with that. So it makes it easier because I know where I'm going and I want to achieve a desired look, but I also want to be able to educate some of you guys throughout this. And so using my system that I always use in this haircut, we're going to go through the basics. And basically when going through the haircut, we're going to debulk, blend, and kind of form this desired look. And as you can see, I'm creating that taper consistently by either using the tip of my blade or blending in the fade, right there on the parietal ridge, right there near his ear and where his eyebrow is going to connect. So I like to record every different haircut that I do because it just gives somebody out there who is maybe not, ready to really just fully take on the haircut that they think they are ready for, and they can kind of get a understanding of what it is they're gonna use. So I'm switching clippers now, still using my one open, and we're gonna continue to blend that out, switch it to halfway, blend it out in angles. Pay attention to the way the hair grows. That'll help when you're cutting. And so as you can see the blend coming together, like I said, we're not gonna go all the way bald. So it's gonna be like stubble, but it's not gonna be a bald taper. It's a light taper. real light taper. And and for me, that's just, me trying to form the desired look that my client is looking for. And so using that no guard now, we're gonna blend that out, blend it and blend it and blend it into the beard so that everything comes into one. Um, and mind you, I'm being cautious of where his hair is, where the outer hairs grow. And so I'm kind of now debulking the back of his hair before I go into lining it up. But I want right there where his ear is, I want that blend to come in, because sometimes if you're not really paying attention to it, you won't really blend that in, and it won't be blended into the haircut. So using the tip of the blade, I'm going to continue to blend that out. Continuously blending it out creates the light to dark, dark to light contrast that you're looking for within the haircut. And as you can see, his hair grows at an angle. And so using the level 3 spray, before I continue to work into that blend, I'm going to line them up. And so as you can see, when I spray any type of hold spray, I always comb it out. Make sure the hair is laid down all the way and at the angle that it's going with. Don't comb down, comb with the angle that the hair is growing so that you see everything. Comb and then I brush it. It helps me create the lining that I want. And so you can kind of see where the lining is going to be. And so I'll start from the top and work my way down. And the only reason I'm doing that is because when I start from the top down, I'm going to go from the top and then curve around his ear. And that's a pivotal key point. I can't stress it, that paying attention to the details when cutting hair creates the barber that you want to be. And that you have to understand that if the barber you want to be is a really great barber, a professional barber who has high quality clientele, you're going to have to pay attention to the details and really, really get into the haircut of understanding that you're trying to create a quality, clean haircut. Nowadays, because it's so abundantly available to be able to cut, it's kind of where those things now, it's like you're looking at it and you're looking at it and you're like, man, you know, it's a lot of people who can't cut hair, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you guys understanding and learning how to cut hair, and better your skill set. But as you get better and better as your own barber, you're going to really pay attention and you're like, dang, okay, now I see, because I don't want to be just the basic barber. Anybody can be the basic barber. Anybody can cut hair. So enough about that. Pay attention to how I'm moving his ear. I'm using both hands, and I'm using only the tip of that blade when I'm rounding the ear, and I'm combing after every stroke, using my pointer finger, using my thumb to hold his ear down to help me create a clean, um, crispy line, within this haircut so that everything looks good. And so with me being doing these YouTube videos too, it gives me the ability to really fine tune my skill set, because I'm just focused in and I'm taking my time doing each and every haircut. Not rushing, enjoying the process, really loving it, and honing my skill set to be better. That's the goal, is to be better, is to perfect my craft. And I'm good at what I do, and I don't take it for granted. And whereas I used to be the barber who, I wouldn't really acknowledge that I was good. I just be like, I worked hard at it. I acknowledge that I am good now. And I'm appreciative because I worked hard at it. And it's okay to give yourself flowers, because you have to understand, um, a skill set, a craft, electrician, barber, it takes a mastery amount of hours. And if you don't know, 10,000 hours is usually the common saying. You know, so that for me, I've completed that, done that. I've mastered the skill, and I can do any haircut, any hairstyle on any ethnicity. Um, and with that being said, that's just that. So as I finish up his lining around the back of his ear, and on his nape, I'm now working my way to his beard lining. And so I'm still using the tip of that blade. And as you can see, I'm just going to detail, but I kind of brought that line to where it all connects directly into his beard. I mean, so you can see how that taper and everything comes together. And so I took now a neck strip and I sprayed it with level 3 spray because I didn't want to spray it on his skin, but you can see where his C cup lining is. And so before I line it, I'm going to brush it and brush his beard into flow so that all the hairs are out of the way. And then we're going to get into lining the beard. Now, this is for me is key because I really like details. And so excuse my shoulder, but you guys see how I'm using the tip of that blade, and I'm sorry. I should have just edited this out, but I wanted you guys to see because of you. It'll get better in here in a second, but I'm using the tip of that blade and I'm just rounding about his beard, staying in one format, using my pointer finger to rest on his face. And I'm kind of just creating that line that connects his C cups from the top to the bottom of the beard to the top portion. That's key because we just want a crispy lining. You know, we don't want to overdo it. We just want it to all be one and connect from, you know, the top of the lining to the bottom. That being said, as you can see, I'm working my way. I'm still using the tip of the blade. Using the trimmers for me creates an easier format, but I'm taking my time with it, working my way through this haircut for the better. Oh, excuse me, guys. And so you kind of see where I've reached that middle point where his ear is, the top of his ear is, and I'm just working my way up slowly but surely. Now, these are my hitter, my JRL trimmers. So they kind of give that precision that I need when I'm trying to do this. And I like it, and I really do like it. So, you know, for me, it's easier to work through this haircut and do it that way and not mess up and give the clean, crispy aspect that my client is looking for. He's not overly, you know, extra with it. He just needs, you know, clean and crispy, and mindful that his skin, he's a light skinned guy again. So I touched on this in my last video, but his skin is a little bit more sensitive and it'll get red a little bit faster than somebody who's a little bit darker skin complexion. So that being said, I'm taking into caution of how heavy or not heavy that I'm touching when I'm doing this lineup. And I've done so many different haircuts that once you kind of get a feel for it, you understand that your touch is either too much or not enough, based on how sharp your trimmers are. And for me, that's a key point, you know. So making this C cup connect top to bottom, I want everything to look the part. I want everything to be into one. And I also want my client just satisfied with the end detail. So as you can see where we started and to where we finished, and then you see me connecting that bottom of the beard to the top. I'm staying in formation with the line, but I'm very much so taking my time. Those are key points. You can't make that up. You have to take your time cutting hair. And in my other videos, you guys have heard me say that. And so for me, taking my time gives me the ability to create the desired look that I want. So I try to make sure that everything is very much so detailed. So once we created that lining, we're going to detail that haircut. And I'm going to pretty much blend it out some more using my one, kind of get that heavy line in to where his hair on the side, it comes at an angle. And so we're going to blend that out some more so that the taper is nicely well blended. And essentially you'll see what I'm saying at the end of this haircut video, but it kind of creates the end look that we're going for. And so you see how I blended it out now. It looks a little bit more well blended, very much so tapered. And so now I'm going to use a little bit of shaving balm to kind of just precision this out. And the reason I'm applying the balm because his skin is sensitive. And so you can see it's just a tad red, but we don't want to make it worse. So I'm going to apply the balm to pretty much help his line be a little bit more crispy. It helps for your client sometimes when they're communicative about certain things when you're doing the hair, because you don't want it to be, you know, affecting afterwards. You want to be able to understand during the service that, you know, XYZ, hey, it's a little, your clip is sharp, XYZ, stuff like that. And so using that, I'm pulling the skin the opposite way with one hand, and I'm coming down with my razor, using that shave balm, because it's not, I didn't use gel because I had balm right there. So I just used the shave balm. But it helps just create the precision on the haircut. And we want that beard crispy. And so pulling the skin the opposite way, coming with the razor, trying to create that a little bit of tension, but not too much, it creates a different look. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the other side. And like I always say, what you do to one side, you do to the other. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Um, so coming down on the hair again, we're gonna go with the grain and against the grain. And understanding with the grain and against the grain will help you in the long run. So I'm fading against the grain using my 1.5. We're gonna just debolt, and we're gonna get all those dark, heavy spots out of there. We're gonna come with the grain and lay the hair down so that it helps gives that nice, well tapered blend look that my client is looking for. And like I said earlier, he's a simple guy. He doesn't want to overdo it. He wants a simple, clean haircut. That makes, easier for him to understand the look that he's going for. And when I do my haircuts, I just take my time. I love what I'm doing. I like to chop it up with my clients. I like to, make sure they're doing good and everything's good in their life. So throughout the haircut, it's not just the cut, it's an experience, That's the big thing for me. And so enough of that. Let's stay on this haircut. 1.5, working my way up in the dark spots. And I'm going into that dark, heavy spots up top, but I'm not all the way in there. Open to midway to close. Slow and easy strokes, taking my time. Now I'm going to create the tapered blend. And so it's not bald, it's light. So I'm creating that guideline with my clipper open. Instead of going there creating it bald, I'm creating it open. And just going to give you guys a different format of it, of how you can create that look. The other side, I did it with the clippers, fading top to bottom and bottom to top with my guards, creating that same blend. But this time I just opened the clipper up and I created a open blend. Still going to be stubble at the bottom, but just a different way of doing it. As the years go and your experience becomes, you become more experienced, let's just say, you'll understand and you'll be able to do it in different formats. So using my one, I'm creating that blend. And as you see, it's just coming together, but his hair comes at a different angle. So it comes kind of straight down, but like a little diagonal. So we're going to be able to easily blend that better. And so I'm going to work through the processes, continue to comb the hair down, go with the grain and against the grain, getting the dark spots out. And that's what I'm doing here, is getting those heavy dark spots out with my clipper halfway and close. It creates just an easier blend of contrast. And you really want that dark to light, light to dark contrast. You want it, to be able to understand that that's what you're going for. Essentially, that's the look that you want. And if you understand what you're going for and what your client really wants, it'll make it easier to achieve that. And so once we're getting into this cut, it becomes a little bit more blended. It blends a little bit easier. Honestly, though, it makes for the haircut that you really want for your client. So using that one, I'm going to blend that out some more, blend it out halfway, close. And we're going to continue to work through those spots at a different level throughout that haircut, because you have your guidelines. You might go one guideline, then a two guideline, and then a three guideline. So you want to stay at that level within those guidelines. And so now I'm at the bottom of the level with my half guard, and I'm just fading out the bottom of that fade. That for me, it kills it all, and it basically just makes the haircut a lot better. And a lot of people, they miss that you're trying to give your client the haircut that they envision for themselves or they desire. So you're painting a picture for somebody, and you want it to be correct. That's what you want. And so that's what I'm doing here. Creating that blend, creating that haircut, so that it comes from the top to the bottom, to the bottom to the top, and the beard to the top, the taper to the bottom. So creating the beard taper now, I'm going to use my one. And I'm pretty much going to blend it exactly how I did up top. And as you can see, I'll work on that beard and then I'll go into that taper a little bit more because details are everything to me and I want that blend to be very much blended. Details are the biggest thing in cutting hair. And as you can see, when he turns his head, you get a full look at that taper that is well blended. And so working my way through it, now I'm going to use no clipper, sorry guys, no guard. I'm going to use no guard and I'm going to blend it all together. And it's still a taper fade, so we're just blending it in, but it's not a bald blend. And now using my 1.5 at the bottom of the ear, fading up into that blend of the beard. That's the key portion, is that you understand that you're creating the blend from bottom to top. And so it's all going to come together as I continuously blend. So now I'm working my way from the top to the bottom with my clippers, and I'm blending that beard into the taper so that it all flows. So when I line them up, it creates that desired look. And once you get more experience, you'll understand that that's what you're doing, that's what you're creating, because this is what your client asked for. For me, that's just what I'm doing, is just creating that look. So I'm combing his hair on his nape now. Nape meaning the back of the neck. So I'm giving you guys technical terms that if you're in barber school, you'll learn, and you'll understand, and you'll get a lot better with the progress of what you're doing. Details for me is just what I focus on. So I'm using the tip of that blade, blending it out, creating that very much so detailed blend. Honestly, if I can create that blend and give the client what they're looking for, that's all I need. I'm not trying to be the best, as long as I'm the best for my client. I don't care about being better than the rest. I'm doing me. So that's the bigger portion of why I love cutting hair and why I've also pushed to this point of cutting hair in my life. Because people don't respect it as much, and it's sad, but that's because it's just so abundant and anybody feels like they can do it. And you're right, anybody can cut hair, but not everybody's great at cutting hair, and there's a difference. So we created that look. Same thing I did on one side, I'm gonna do the other. I'm gonna line it up, and I've already sprayed the level 3 spray, guys, so I'm not gonna hit that point. I'm just gonna, using my left hand, hold his ear down with my thumb, and this is my dominant side. It's easier because some sides are a little bit harder to do based off your client and the comfortability and the opposite side of your dominant hand. But I'm creating that lining on his nape, lining him up, taking my time, coming down the bottom of his nape. Now, when I'm getting the hair off the back, instead of pressing hard and just cutting all that hair, I'm going to turn my clipper the opposite way and just go against the hair, and it'll shave it all off. It's easier for me to do it that way versus just pressing and coming down on it, so that you don't damage the skin, cut the skin. And so from the top where I've created that line, I'm going to use the tip of my blade and not use the hole, and we're going to just round his ear. And so this angle will give you a little bit better view on how I did that. And I'm going to use the other end of that blade too. So guys, pay attention, because having the touch in this point of the haircut makes a huge difference, so that you don't use the whole blade. Use half the blade, use the tip of the blade, have some touch, and just slowly work your way around that haircut. And make sure you comb or brush after every stroke, because like I said, it just makes a difference. These are the things that most people miss, but they don't pay attention to. All right, guys, we're going to do his beard because I've got the nape line and I want you guys to see how I do it. Now, I am using my Stylecraft trimmers on this one, but the same thing applies. I'm using the tip of that blade to create that C cup lining from the bottom to the top. And I'm just rounding slowly, taking my time, giving that slight bit of arch, but not overly doing it. These trimmers are very sharp, so I'm being critical of understanding that I don't have to apply too much pressure. I'm angling and I'm just connecting the dots. Understanding the connecting the dots metaphor for me is big, because in haircutting is symmetry. a lot of geometry. So it's just connecting the lines, making sure that everything is crisp and in one flow of motion. That being said, once I get to the top using the bottom of that blade of where I want to be, I'm going to switch sides and I'm going to use the other side of that blade and kind of connect it. So we've created that arch now. I'm combing and I'm brushing. Now I'm going to use the other side. So once I kind of get it rounded and create that look, and I'm using my other hand now because I'm kind of pulling the skin just a tad bit because I want that C cup to be real crispy. Once I get it going, I'm going to use the other end of the blade, and that'll help me pretty much finish this look. And so when I do these type of haircuts, I'm very, very precise about taking my time, and that's what I'm doing here. Is taking my time, being very precise, doing the things that for me creates the desired look for my client. Then that's what I like to do, is create that desired look with crisp, clean linings. It makes a huge difference, and honestly, when you're doing a haircut, as you get better over time, you'll understand more and more. And so once I've created that C cup look, you guys kind of see it. It's real crisp, it's real clean. It'll pretty much make it easier to go in with the razor and just clean that up and make it real defined and sharp. And that's what most people want. Not a lot of people want their stuff super sharp and defined, but me, I do. And so using the tip of that blade, I'm just creating the look. I'm going with the flow of the motion. I'm steady doing my thing. But honestly, once you understand that you're just professionally creating a desired look for your client, that's all that matters, and that's what you're going to focus on. So that's done. Now we're going to get into lining the beard and hitting it with the razor. Right here, I'm just going to detail a little bit more, blend that out a little bit more. Me and my client, we was chopping it up about making bets and picks and gambles, and a lot of people was making stupid bets and picks on the Super Bowl. If you got comments and feedbacks on that, welcome to comment. But staying with what we're focused on, which is educating you all and helping you become better barbers, I'm just gonna blend that out. Continue to blend it out, fade it out, and it'll come together. It'll slowly come together. That's the big portion. It's just taking your time when you're cutting hair, focusing in on the details, making sure that you achieve the look that your client's going for. And then as I go through, you'll see me continuously. I'll just keep tapping and perfecting where I've already made the cut look a certain way. And for me, that's what I'm going for. I like to really perfect my haircuts. I like to really take my time on my haircuts, better my haircuts, because it makes my client happy, but it makes me satisfied when they leave and they've gotten what they wanted out of this haircut. So with that being said, we're going to go into the finishing final minutes of this haircut, and I'm just going to detail the blend. I'm going to fine line and fine tune his haircut. So you guys have seen both ends. I did not get a roll clip of the whole haircut, but you got to see both sides so that you know that everything looks good and everything is how it's supposed to be. And my client was satisfied, and that's all that matters. So I'm very, very happy with that. And yeah, man, I can't complain. So you can see that taper. My elbow's in the way right now, but I just want you guys to see how I stretch the skin. I'm pulling the opposite way, but I'm just like slightly, real gently creating that defined, crisp line on his taper. And it just makes it easier to do those type of things. So you guys see this cut. We don't have much left. I'm going to detail a little bit more, the same process, just get a little bit of the bulk out of there at the top of the parietal ridge area, going into his crown. You got open, you got halfway, and you got midway. So you just work your way with your clippers, detail, detail, detail. That makes for a better of the cut. And it shows your client that you really take your time and you really care about the look, and most importantly, the look that they're going for. So for me, that's what I'm doing. You guys see that. I got somewhere to go, so I'm going to get ready to get up out of here. But Make sure you guys take your time, work on your haircuts, really pay attention to what you're doing. Like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate the love. I truly, truly do. It's your boy D. Let's go.